I wanted to take a quick minute to show my recent experience in asking the people who are helping with disaster relief, what do you need, instead of telling them what I thought they needed. When the flood happened in Houston, my family and friends were down there, but I live in Fort Worth. So I worked with a church and community leaders in Houston to make this website that would help with the mudding out of homes so that they wouldn't get black mold and be destroyed. The first thing I did was I joined this group called Strengthen Neighbors, and it was an awesome group, 4,000 members, and we were basically organizing from Austin people on Facebook to make sure that when 911 and the authorities were overloaded with phone calls, that we were getting jet skis and boats and sea-doos to people's homes to help them get off their roofs or get out of their attics and get them to safety. Once everyone was safe, I said, what is the next thing you need? And people are saying things like toiletries and trash bags and basic clothing items and non-perishables. So we're sending stuff down there. But this church was connected with me, and they told me what we really need is to help homes get mudded out. And they showed me a map that was available. So all the blue here, this blue, let me zoom in on these are volunteers. These aren't homes. The blue is volunteers. These little red dots are the homes. So there aren't nearly as many homes that were getting noticed as the volunteers. Let me zoom in on this home, and you'll see when you click it, it just lists the name, the number, the address, and Houston Northwest Church said, we need more information. If we don't get more information from these homeowners, then we're not going to really be able to help them. And there's a very limited amount of time. So Houston Northwest Church, they were just a great church that was focusing on other people and said, let's repurpose this marketplace. And you can see here's versus this where you've got volunteers and people who need their home. We only have homes on here. So here's a cluster of groups, and you can search based on map or grid. With the grid view, you can select, who needs drywall done or who needs me to send a team to cut out the drywall. We made it so that you could log in with Facebook. So that way you can make sure it's people who are legitimate. You can see, if they have friends or if they're a fake account, and start to get people the help they really need. What we really had to focus on was the intake. We didn't want it to be like a Google map where, like you can see here, it's just listing the name. It's not giving enough information to the people who are actually getting the work done. So this church is going out from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and they needed to be efficient. So I'm going to click I need help, and I'm going to show you how this thing gets filled out. We start with the listing title, a description, but here's where it's just really highly functional. First, is the place safe? Have the authorities come by and made sure no one's going to be electrocuted? Then what do you need help with? What stage? Let's make sure we get the right stage so that we can be efficient and maybe do one stage one day, the next stage the next day, or maybe you've accomplished one stage, but you need the church to help with the next stage. Here's a really crucial one that homeowners don't really understand why we list, but the size of the home helps influence how many people were sent. So if you have a 1,500 square foot home, if you have a 3,000 square foot home, it might take 15 people working all day to help you get the debris out. Time is also important. The last thing you want is to show up with 10 people at a home and no one be there and the home be locked and you have to just go find another home to go to. When you waste time, homes are not getting cleaned out. They're going to be filled with black mold and have to be torn down. Also, if there's puddles and no to be mudded out and get the mildew treatment, but if there's still standing water, you just can't do that. We put a disclaimer to make sure our volunteers and neighbors wouldn't, and make sure people got the help that they need. This was a lot of fun to make because it's just a repurposed Etsy marketplace. This church, being able to work with them, I was able to know exactly what they needed. The Strengthen Neighbors site got me connected with them. The church knew that this map needed to do more than it was currently doing, and the functional marketplace gave them those crucial bits that they needed.